Today, I want to show you how I spend my weekends at 49 years old, living completely on my own. No plans, no socializing. In a world where everyone is hyper-connected all the time, Ivy realized something. Not talking to anyone all day is lonely or miserable at all. It's actually a rare, deeply relaxing escape. I am Hunter. I am 49, living alone in Baigo, Hebei Province, China. Lately, I haven't been feeling in top shape. So, I decided it is time to work out. Now I can just follow some online tutorials and train right at home. I have no idea if this is gonna work. But hey, at least it's a start. Studies show that after age 35, you start losing muscle mass. Building up muscle strength through working out helps keep your quality of life from slipping away. So, starting today, I'm determined to stick with this and make working out a daily habit. I am a 3D game modeler, and I haven't had any freelance work for a week now. With the rise of AI, so many of my friends have lost their jobs. Concept artists, environment modelers, and level designers are all getting pushed out by AI. Luckily, I specialize in character modeling, so I haven't been replaced yet, but it's only a matter of time. The future really brings me a lot of anxiety. See, my son goes to school in Baoding. His tuition alone is 60,000 RMB, around $8,300 a year, not to mention living expenses for him and his mom. In my current situation, that's a huge sum of money. Since I still have a little savings left for now, I'm pouring all my energy into this channel. I hope my quiet daily life can act as a small window, letting you see what ordinary life in China is really like. I didn't feel like heading out for breakfast this morning, so I am cooking for myself. It's way cheaper than eating out. Just 1 potato and 4 eggs. Keeps me completely full, and it only costs around 3 RMB, less than half a US dollar. Living alone, this is how I slowly save money, one small meal at a time. I truly love this little courtyard. My dog feels most at home here. He, as my very first pet, since moving in, our little family has kept growing. A hen, a mother cat, and a whole litter of kittens. To be honest, people in China these days have a real soft spot for animals. Being surrounded by these little guys and taking care of them actually helps melt my stress away. Let's make Chinese steamed egg custard today. I've heard viewers overseas refer to it as savory egg pudding. Grab a couple eggs and follow along. You'll it first try. Super simple. The golden ratio here is 1 part egg liquid to 1.5 parts warm water. Add a pinch of salt to the water, then pour it into the beaten eggs and stir as you go. Straining the mixture makes the texture super silky. Then poke a few tiny holes to let steam escape. Once the water comes to a boil, turn to low heat and steam for 15 minutes flat. Now I'm whipping up a classic dish from my hometown, egg mashed potatoes. Back when I was a kid growing up in northeast China, supplies were really limited. There were barely any fresh green vegetables to be found all winter long. The only veggies folks stockpiled to get through those freezing months were cabbage, potatoes, and green onions. We basically lived off those 3 simple veggies the entire, long, frigid winter. I've eaten them so much over the years that now, if I go more than a couple of days without potatoes, I get a massive craving for them. No matter how far I am from my hometown, just one bite of this dish instantly hits me with that cozy childhood hometown taste. Look at this little food lover. It's such a clingy girl. I've got 6 little pets around the house, and this one's by far the most affectionate. Such a lovely surprise to have her around. Alright, plated up, and it looks pretty good. It's gentle on blood sugar, super friendly for my glucose levels. The steamed egg custard is done. It turned out perfectly. Lucky me, no fails this time. Look how silky and jiggly this custard is. I can't wait any longer. Let's dig in. My neighbor's grapevine grows tons of grapes every year. Look how big the grapes have gotten already. The 3 big trees in my yard aren't just for show. They're heirloom persimmon varieties. Once autumn comes, they'll be covered in bright red persimmons. Grab one first thing in the morning. Peel off that sharp, bitter skin. Then slurp up all the sweet flesh. It tastes way better than ice cream. See those tiny white specks on the persimmons? They're related to the cochineal bugs that make lipstick dye, but they're not the same. Even though these tiny bugs cling to the fruit skin, they don't mess with the sweet flesh inside at all. They only live on the surface, so just wash or peel it off. And the fruit inside is perfectly safe and delicious. It's the weekend, and I want to spend the day just like I did as a kid. That calls for dumplings. Just like back when my grandma'd get the whole family together to fold them side by side. My grandma always had this old saying, "Nothing beats dumplings for food. Nothing beats lying down to relax." Basically, dumplings are the ultimate cozy meal, and there's nothing nicer than curling up and taking it slow. Come on, let's go pick up some groceries. Folding dumplings takes tons of time and work.
白菜多少钱啊？一个呗，一个要小的啊？过来挑个小的呗。
There are massive differences when buying groceries between northern and southern China. Vendors in southern China provide incredibly thoughtful service. You can buy as little as 1 tail of meat if you want. The vendor will kindly ask if you want the meat sliced or diced. Fish sellers will even ask what dish you plan to cook. Then cut the fish properly based on your cooking needs. In northern China, customers usually buy 3 or 5 jin of ingredients at once. If you only ask for 1 tail of meat, vendors will think you're joking. That's why Southerners often run into awkward situations shopping at northern markets when they first arrive. Meanwhile, Northerners are totally amazed by the attentive service when they shop in the South for the first time. Even with today's widespread internet and easy information exchange, this grocery shopping gap between North and South still remains. It's such an interesting and unique cultural experience of living in China. Look, I only bought about a pound of pork and 1 Chinese cabbage for dumplings. It only cost me 12 RMB altogether, which is roughly 1.8 US dollars. As soon as I walked in, my greedy cats swarmed all around me. I quickly poured out a bowl of cat food for them, but they wouldn't even touch it and followed me right out into the yard instead. Do they somehow know I am about to make dumplings? The yard bully just showed up. Robert S. here causing a total ruckus, and the mood turned tense in an instant. But I'm not worried at all. My dog is completely useless anyway. I've had him for 7 years, and he has never even hurt a single ant. Look, got away easy. Honestly, this is my first time making dumpling dough from scratch. I just called my mom and she gave me all the tips, so I'm learning as I go. I used to watch my grandma knead dough all the time when I was little. Even though I've never done it myself, I've seen the whole process enough times to know the drill. Before I started, I was worried I'd get stuck in that endless cycle. Add water if the dough is too stiff. Add flour if it's too wet. But everything went way smoother than I expected. I guess I watched my grandma make dumplings so many times when I was little. I picked up lots of handy tricks without even noticing. Even though I'm making fresh cabbage and pork dumplings today, looking at this Chinese cabbage instantly reminds me of the pork and pickled cabbage dumplings I ate most often back when I was a kid. Back when I was a kid, pork and pickled Chinese cabbage dumplings were what I ate most often. We pickled the cabbage ourselves, and the thick stalks would turn slightly translucent after fermenting. My mom would rinse them thoroughly, and always gave me the tender cabbage hearts to snack on. One bite was so tangy, it made my mouth water non-stop. If I could sneak a little sugar on top, it'd be the absolute ultimate treat to me. When I was little, I was always dreaming about the future. Now that I'm grown, all I do is look back and miss the old days. Maybe the younger me and the me today both need to learn to just cherish the present moment. Alright, if you want your dumpling filling to taste amazing, you've got to get the seasoning just right. Cooking wine, 5-spice powder, salt, Ms. G, a pinch of sugar to bring out the flavors, oyster sauce, dark and light soy sauce, plus sesame oil and cooking oil. Dust a little flour so the wrappers don't stick to the counter. Alright, check out my inherited dough rolling skills. Once you learn it, it's just like riding a bike. You never forget. Give the filling one last good stir before you start wrapping. If you want to try making your own, take a close look at how I fold them. Just make sure the filling doesn't touch the edges of the wrapper. Any oil on the edge will ruin the seal, and the dumplings will break open in the boiling water. My chickens come to mess around again. It scattered all the cabbage I laid out for it. I'll make something special next. We call these stuffed vegetable pockets. Look at these crimped edges. Don't they look just like sunflowers? Gotta speed things up. I'm starving. A pan of crispy buns and another pot of dumplings. Keep the heat low, or the bottoms will burn. Pour a flour and water mix into the pan. Cover it up and let it steam on low heat. Oops, dropped one. What a waste. Give them a quick stir right away so they don't stick to the bottom. Once they all float up, they're ready. Feel the wrappers now and then. If they're soft, they're fully cooked. Garlic paste is a must-have with dumplings. Add a pinch of salt when mashing garlic. It helps release the garlic juice. This garlic dip is the soul of dumplings. But if you've got a client meeting later, stay far away from this stuff. Add a little cold water. It works surprisingly well. Even spice lovers might not handle this special heat. Let it sit a while, and the spiciness gets stronger. All right, let's whip up a dipping sauce. Mashed garlic plus garlic sauce, a big spoonful of black vinegar. This looks mouth-watering. Time to dig in. I've always had this issue with dumplings. I'm either still hungry or way too full. There's never an in-between. I think that's what makes dumplings so special. They just make you lose track. There's a small river in my hometown named Bianchi River. Back home, we call dumplings Bianchi. Word has it during WE, an elderly couple living by the river dumped all their uncooked dumplings into the water before the invaders arrived, refusing to let the enemy get their food. Years later, their descendants renamed the river Bianchi River as a tribute to the couple. The river you see in this video isn't the one back home. Yet it still fills me with longing for my hometown and my grandma. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for coming along on this journey with me.